This is the story of life. It is a story that began millions of years ago. It is as full of mystery as a thriller, and as full of miracles as the Bible. It is the story of how you were born. I expect you can remember what you were like when you were 5 years old, possibly even when you were 3. But you cannot remember yourself as a baby of 9 months, and you certainly can't remember what you were like 9 months before you came into the world. Well, 9 months before you were born, you were an egg, such a small egg that you couldn't have been seen without a microscope. Much smaller than a pinhead. There was enough information to fill an encyclopedia. There were instructions for the growth of your hair, the size of your brain, the colour of your eyes. In fact, there was everything necessary to produce a grown-up human being. When you go away on holiday, you generally take a couple of suitcases with you. Some people find it difficult to pack all the things they need into 2 cases. But nature is so clever, she can pack a whole lifetime of growth and a complete personality into an egg no bigger than a pinhead. Now, eggs grow in different ways. In plants, the eggs are inside the flowers, just where the petals join the stem. Plant eggs grow until they turn into seeds, and when they become seeds, they fall to the earth. Once in the earth, they start growing again, for the earth keeps them warm and gives them the food they need. But not all eggs grow in earth. Birds' eggs are laid in a nest, and the female bird keeps them warm by sitting on them and turning herself into a hot water bottle. Fish, on the other hand, generally lay their eggs at the bottom of a river or a stream. But none of these ways are really safe. Plant seeds are often eaten by birds. Fish eggs are often eaten by other fish. And I'm sure you've all seen birds' eggs lying broken on the ground. Animals and human beings are different from birds and fish, for they keep their eggs inside them. Perhaps you have sometimes seen a cat with a swollen belly. It's swollen because it's carrying its kittens inside it, but once the kittens have been born, it goes back to its normal shape. Not all animals take the same length of time to turn from an egg into a living creature. An elephant takes about 1 year and 8 months to grow from an egg to an elephant, whereas a mouse only takes 3 weeks, and a human baby takes 9 months. If you look at a living thing under a microscope, such as a leaf or a piece of skin, you will see they are made up of a great many small parts. These parts are called cells, and they are the building bricks of living things. You are made up entirely of cells, not thousands or millions, but billions of them. Most cells are surrounded by a thin covering, and inside is a fluid that looks like the white of an egg before it's cooked. No one has been able to make this fluid, for this is living matter, and if scientists could make it, they would know the secret of life. But they can't make it, and so the mystery of life is still not known to us. Yet we do know something. We know that in order to make a new life, you need a male and a female, and this is necessary no matter whether you want to reproduce an elephant or a buttercup. But there's no such thing as a male or female buttercup, you might say. That's true, of course, for there are male and female parts of the same plant, unlike fish and animals and human beings. But no matter whether you look at a plant or a fish or a dog or a baby, you can be sure of one thing. They all began as eggs. Before an egg can grow into a living creature, it has to join together with a sperm. The sperm comes from the male, and one sperm is much smaller than one egg, if you can imagine anything smaller than a pinhead. A sperm is shaped something like a tadpole, but it has a longer tail. When the sperm meets the egg, it breaks through the thin wall and goes inside it. This is called fertilization, and the moment an egg is fertilized, a new life has begun. Different eggs are fertilized in different ways. Plants drop their seeds on the ground so other plants may grow. They do this instinctively. Babies are born with certain instincts too. They know how to suck and how to cry, and how to show when they are hungry. Another instinct we all have is the one of mating. It's an instinct we are born with, and from the time we grow up we start to look for a mate, that is, someone we can love and marry. When we are children we do not know we have this instinct, but as we enter our teens we begin to experience all sorts of strange feelings. Instead of taking boys for granted, girls begin to get embarrassed when they are with them, and the same applies to boys. They stammer and blush and hate themselves for being so foolish. But there is nothing foolish in this. It is a part of growing up, of beginning to realize that we are looking for someone to love and marry. In nature, the mating season is at its strongest in the spring. Flowers bloom in bright colours to attract the bees, for the bees carry pollen from flower to flower, and this pollen fertilizes the plant eggs. Male birds develop bright feathers in their plumage in order to attract their mates, and it's the same sort of instinct that makes people dress themselves up in order to look attractive. That's why men are often so particular about their ties, and why women take such a long time over their hair and their makeup. Now what happens when you've found a mate? Here human beings are different from the rest of nature. Most living creatures only care about fertilization. They are like the birds who mate in the spring and then part when the nest is empty. But with human beings it's different. When a man and woman fall in love, they want to get married and live together always. They want to share their troubles and their pleasure, their happiness and their sorrow. But the one thing above all that brings a man and wife happiness is the birth of a baby, for a child is a part of each of them. That's why a father is so proud when he sees his baby has the same colour hair as his wife, and why the wife is delighted if she can say the baby has got his father's nose. But before a baby can start to grow, the act of mating must take place. That is, the egg and the sperm must come together.